Hey, what's up, RegenAG Nation? Out here week 9 of scouting in a cornfield. Let me tell you a little bit about our weather that we got going on this week. We're still a little bit lower than normal. We're actually kind of in the really low 90s this week. So it's perfect growing weather for pretty much any crop out there. We got enough heat units, but we're not too terribly hot that we have a lot of plant stress just induced by the heat. So anyway, pretty ideal conditions, and kind of looking like we're going to have ideal conditions for the next 7 to 10 days. So, okay guys, check out this ear of corn. It's not looking too pretty. There's a couple things I want to talk to you about and reasons why this could be. Specifically, pollination. Pollination could be a huge reason why this looks like it does. So in one of my earlier videos, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I explained the process of pollination. And I'll just briefly explain it again so that you can understand why this is happening. But the silks get pollinated by the tassel, the pollination or the pollen sacs fall down onto the silk, and each individual silk is connected to a kernel. And if those silks don't get pollinated, then you will not have a kernel. So likely a lot of what you're seeing on this, any of these that haven't turned yellow and haven't started filling, aren't pollinated. So they will actually just kind of disappear and nothing will be there. The other thing you could have is you could have it pollinate, but not have enough nutrition, plant energy to fill out these kernels. So it allocates all of its nutrition to the healthiest, strongest ear or kernels or whatever it is, and doesn't have enough to continue filling it out. So it leaves the other one behind, or it takes any of the energy that was going towards those away and they die off, whatever it is. So there's a couple reasons this looks like it. This is not ideal, but we want to always be explaining to you the good and the bad about a lot of these different crops. So with that in mind, we're kind of at the tail end of our growing season in corn specifically. Most likely you've kind of gotten past that place where you've pulled up most of your nutrients and you're just kind of at the fruit fill stage. It's using nutrients, but there's not a whole lot you can do to influence it with different applications at this point. So your plant's pulling it up, pushing it into that ear of corn, bulking it out. Right now, depending on what kind of crop you're in, you're kind of at that milky stage. Some of them is a little farther along, and we're moving into kind of that starch fill in the kernel. So we're getting late in the season. Big thing at this point is just to make sure that your fields are good and watered up. You can't do a whole lot, as I stated, nutritionally. There's not a whole lot you can do from the insect side of it. You see mites in your field. It's really difficult to get any control of it at this point. You have a lot of vegetation. Your options are to put it through a pivot or spray a miticide on with an airplane, and neither one of those are really good options at this point. So the biggest thing would be to keep your plants watered up and hope at this point that the mites don't do too much damage to your leaves and decreasing photosynthesis and plant energy. So, okay, one other thing I want to talk to you about. At this point, we could actually do kind of a yield estimate. And I don't have exact details on how it works completely, but there is an algorithm, and it is based off of how many kernels is in a row, lengthwise, and then also the easiest way is to split it open and you count how many kernels are around in a circle. And there's actually an algorithm online that you can plug this length and the amount of kernels around. You plug it into the system. It has a average, would you say, bulk density built into the algorithm, and you can basically, and also you add in how many plants, like your population per row length, depending on how many, what your population density was at planting. So there's those 3 things that you can figure, plug it into the thing. It has an average kernel weight built into it, and you can actually get a pretty decent idea of where your yield might be at this point. So anyway, something interesting to point out to you. If you want to have a little fun with that, go out into your field, pull a few ears off, do some counts, take a tape measure with you, measure your specific row length and how many plants are, what your population is, and then plug that into your algorithm on Google or whatever it is, and get an idea of what your yield's going to be. If you guys find these videos valuable, please remember to like and subscribe. It really helps us in creating more of these and bringing education to you guys. And remember, make farming fun.